Imagine starting your chemistry section in JEE thinking you will score 90 to 100 marks. But by the end, your score drops to 60 or 70 marks. That drop happens because of a very few common mistakes. Let's talk about them. Starting with the first one, spending too much time on one question. Now, this is the biggest mistake a student can make in the beginning of an exam. See, we tend to get emotionally attached to a question that we think we should know. So, what happens is we end up spending 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes trying to crack the question. What happens is we actually lose the precious time that we could have otherwise spent in solving 3, 4 easy questions later. So, particularly in chemistry, if a question takes more than 60 to 70 seconds, just mark it and review at the end. See, your goal is not to prove you are intelligent. Your goal is to collect as many marks as possible. Moving to the next one. Now, this, guys, is extremely common. Overthinking simple questions. See, students tend to assume that if it's JEE, it must be tricky. And believe me, this is not always true, particularly in chemistry. You can easily avoid this mistake if you read the question carefully and figure out what exactly is asked in the question. Number three, panic after spending too long on a question. This one is a deeply psychological mistake. If you spend too much time on a question and still have to quit, so this throws you into a downward spiral of underconfidence. Your mind tells you you are not prepared, which is obviously not true. So, whenever this happens, though you should avoid the situation, but take a deep breath and remember missing one question is not a big deal and move on to the next one. Moving to the next mistake that students commonly make is not reading the question carefully. Now, this is perhaps the one that every student regrets the most, and actually, it can be avoided with small efforts. So, for example, in a question, they have asked which one of the following statements is correct or incorrect. We end up marking the other one, or whether it is a minimum value or maximum value, or maybe not writing the answer in the appropriate format as asked in the question. So, the point is how to avoid this mistake. Reread the question quickly and properly check your answer and its unit before submitting your final answer. So, this is how you can avoid this mistake. Moving to the next one, jumping to the answer in a familiar question. Now, tell me in the comment section, guys, if this has happened with you. You read a question, find it familiar, like you have solved it recently, and mark the answer from your memory. But wait, this can be dangerous. What if there was some change in condition or data? So it's always a good idea to read the question carefully and solve it, unless, of course, you are able to unmistakably recall that question. Number six, not using options smartly. See, the exam pressure is so high that we often forget to observe the options altogether. In multiple choice questions, many a times you can get the answer without completely solving the question. Like sometimes you can eliminate the impossible options, and sometimes you can substitute the values given in the options to check if it makes sense or not. So many questions actually become fast to solve in this way. And now coming to the last one, not revising key concepts and trends. Now I know like everybody tells you to not study one day before the exam, but every student has been there when we begin to doubt even simple concepts in the examination hall. So it's always a good idea to revise the important formulas in physical chemistry, mechanisms and reagents of famous named reactions in organic, and important exceptions in inorganic 1 2 days before the exam. So scoring high in JEE is not just about knowledge, it's also about avoiding these small mistakes that quietly take away your marks. Thank you for watching.